after a month of invasion, Moscow for the first time has signaled that it's scaling back its war goals. A top Russian general has claimed that the first stage of Russia's military plan is over and that Russia will be primarily focusing on liberating Russian-backed separatists in the Donbas region. The statement comes as Russia's advances appear to have stalled around the Ukrainian cities Kyiv and Kharkiv. More importantly, Biden is in Poland today on part of his two-day visit. He is likely to meet Polish top leaders, including the president, as well as visit a Ukrainian refugee center in Poland.
В целом, основные задачи первого этапа операции выполнены. Существенно снижен боевой потенциал вооруженных сил Украины, что позволяет, еще раз подчеркну, сосредоточить основные усилия на достижении главной цели – освобождения Донбасса.
Підтримуючи російські дії, наші захисники і захисниці підводять керівництво Росії до простої і логічної думки. Треба говорити. Говорити змістовно, терміново, чесно і заради результату, а не заради того, щоб тягнути час. Рахунок російських втрат на цій війні вже перевищив 16 тисяч убитих. Серед них і вищі командири. Про убитих російських генерал-полковників чи адміралів поки не доповідали, але командувач однієї з армій окупантів і заступник командувача Чорноморським флотом вже є.
I'm joined on the show by Mr. Maroof Raza, Strategic Affairs Editor. So thank you so much for speaking to us. But primarily what we see is that the Russians are saying that their first stage of war or their military operation plan is complete. What does this exactly mean, that they're focusing on the Donbas region now? Does this mean that their plan has obviously not gone as per the plan that they had initially for Kyiv or Kharkiv? But does this signal anything for Ukraine? What's the message the world should take from this?
You see, the first message from the world, from the Russian operations is that if you put up a stiff resistance, if you're well led, and the entire people back the military effort of the country, even a powerful nation like Russia cannot subdue what was seen to be a much smaller military element that Ukraine could put together. But by using its entire population and the arms supplies that have come to Ukraine in large numbers from the United States and NATO countries, Ukraine has put up a resistance which has completely derailed Russia's calculations. So my understanding is currently Ukraine has forces deployed which are double the size of what Russia had put into place out there. And actually, as the aggressor, Russia would have needed to have at least 5 times, if not 3 times the number of forces that Ukraine had in place. So Ukraine today has close to 300,000 soldiers and paramilitary men and civilians involved in the operations, whereas Russia has about 150,000. So Ukraine has doubled the forces, very well armed, very well equipped, and getting financial and other support from Western countries, though they have been let down by NATO in particular. Russia, on its part, has had to recalibrate its operations and come up with the statements which are, to my mind, are face-saving statements, though I have repeatedly said from the very beginning that Russia's military aims could have been one of the 3. One was the full collapse and capture of Ukraine. That doesn't seem possible now, all the more. Second was to take over the entire region east of the river Dnieper, which divides Ukraine into about 2/3, 1/3. And the third and the minimalist objective would have been to take control of the eastern parts of the Russia-Ukraine border, where the Donbas region lies, and some other towns like Odessa, Mariupol, and various others where Russia has been hammering them with massive firepower. So Russia is probably now looking at settling at the minimalist objectives of having a buffer region between Western-supported Ukraine and the eastern parts where the Donbas region has a lot of sympathy for Russia, and taking full control of that, because you might remember Russia had already recognized these 2 regions, having prodded them to declare themselves independent of Ukraine. So that would be certainly a minimal position Russia will accept. If that is going to lead to a ceasefire and a future arrangement which will satisfy both parties, that is the big question. The possibility is very high, but the Russian military commanders have also realized that just having technology per se doesn't make you win wars. At the end of the day, what counts is your ability to put boots on the ground. And neither has NATO put boots on the ground, nor Russia has put its entire military might on the ground, assuming that Ukraine would have collapsed under the fierce firepower of Russia.
Right.
But hats off to the people of Ukraine and their determined resistance.
Quite a resistance put up so far. Thank you so much, Maroof Raza, for joining us on the show with that.